The US may resist gun control, but certain types of vaping are beginning to attract the attention of legislators. New York's set to become the second US state to introduce a ban on all flavoured e-cigarettes. Governor Andrew Cuomo told a news conference in Manhattan that vaping was dangerous and that the fruit or bubblegum type flavours on offer were clearly aimed at getting young people addicted to nicotine.
I am a former cigarette smoker. It is highly addictive and highly difficult to stop and to stay away from cigarettes for the rest of your life. It is a real struggle. The addiction to nicotine is powerful.
And Mr. Cuomo added,
Vaping is better than smoking. Technically, yes, but so what? Smoking is terrible.
Mr. Cuomo said the state health commissioner would issue a formal ban in the next few days. Last week, Michigan became the first state to ban the products after a recent surge in lung illnesses and 6 fatalities that US health officials have linked to vaping. So should the health authorities here be considering similar action? Martin Dockrell is Tobacco Control Programme Lead at Public Health England, which is the government body responsible for protecting and improving the nation's health. Good evening.
Good evening.
Martin Dockrell, are New York and Michigan perhaps ahead of the curve? Should the UK follow suit?
Well, it's important to note that the lung problems in the states associated with vaping have been identified by the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, as being linked to vaping illicit cannabis oils that have been cut with something called vitamin E acetate oil. Now, inhaling oils is definitely dangerous. You shouldn't do it. But that's very different from the kind of nicotine e-cigarettes that we have in the UK. In the UK, e-cigarettes are regulated by our Medicines Authority, the MHRA. They operate a yellow card notification system. There have been zero notifications of US-style reports of poisoning. There's been no increase in youth vaping over the last 2 years. And rates of smoking among adults and children are falling faster in the UK than ever before. I think it's really important to whenever anybody screams crisis, it's vital to stay calm and to look at the evidence.
Well, not saying crisis, but we're not clear about the long-term effects of vaping. Dame Sally Davis, England's chief medical officer, has suggested that vaping might be a ticking time bomb. Does that suggest that future generations might look back on your stance as being a little bit complacent?
Well, the US National Academy of Sciences reported last year that on all the available evidence, e-cigarettes were likely to be far less harmful than smoking, but that we need more research. And that's absolutely right. On the available evidence, far less harmful than smoking, but we need more research. Now, compare that with the alternative, as Mayor Cuomo did, smoking. We know that smoking kills half of lifelong smokers. Now, I don't think there's any plausible likelihood, any scientist with any credibility would say that that's likely with e-cigarettes. Indeed, we have extremely good studies, both in the UK and the US, from the University College London, but also from the Roswell Park Cancer Institute, that compare what are called biomarkers, the signs in the body of harm from smoking. And if you smoke, they're really high. If you vape as well as smoke, they're really high. But if you switch to vaping only, then they're about as low in most cases as if you didn't smoke at all. So a good study from St Andrews University found that the burden of carcinogens, cancer-causing agents, was reduced by 99.5%. So that's a really good sign.
So what you're saying is that vaping is obviously much, much safer than smoking, but are you concerned that vaping, in a sense, brings a return to the normalisation of smoking once again, of the idea of smoking, and that it could be a gateway back to cigarettes?
Well, we can see clearly in the UK that as vaping has increased, smoking has decreased very quickly. But also we can test this normalization thing. We actually have data that we can look at. And if you look at the percentage of kids who think who report in the surveys that it's okay to smoke, that fell dramatically at precisely the same time that young people's vaping was on the increase 3 or 4 years ago. So that suggests that I'm not suggesting for a moment that vaping has it denormalized smoking, but all the measures show that smoking has become denormalized at precisely the same time that vaping has increased. And that's a really good thing. But if you don't if you don't smoke, don't start to vape. It's definitely for smokers to quit and stay quit.
Martin Dockrell, thank you very much indeed.